Okay, so we've looked at encapsulation using double-sided tape, which is a method you can do with very few tools and equipment. Encapsulation using a heat welder. This guy is, I'll just put it back a bit so you can see, it's got jaws on this side. It's actually resting on a book cart so that I can put it up against the table, and then I get a much bigger area to lay out my mylar. Obviously we've jacked it up to the same height, at least it was. Yeah, there it goes. So on the top here we've got, there's an on-off switch, and there's two lights indicating the cycle and the ribbon. I'll talk about the ribbon in a second. There's also a time duration control, so the heat will only be there. We currently set it for about 3, maybe 3.5 for mylar and polyester. There's a lever on the side which when you pull down operates inside, and the lights flash accordingly. So when you pull that lever down, actually let me start just a little before that, you slide these into the jaws and there's a backstop. So you've got to get them flush against the backstop and they need to stay there and not move. When I pull the lever, the backstop moves away and a clamp holds this in position a set distance away from the heated ribbon, which is on springs so that it expands with the heat and stays in the same position. So as I push this in, it's up against the backstop. I'm just making sure they're flush. If they're not flush with each other, they won't weld. It's called a bead weld. So I've got them in position there. I'm set for 3.5. I'm turned on. I'm going to throw the lever, and it's finished the cycle. Pull the lever back, and I now have 2 sheets of mylar welded together. So at this point I put my document in, and if this was an archival document I wouldn't trim the excess off with the document in position. I'd probably put Sharpie marks on each side and one here before I do the weld. So I'll just run across to the board here for 1 second. So I very quickly trimmed that to the size of the document, or just slightly bigger. Hopefully this is not too small, but you can see it's just a pocket at this point. Often you can buy these mylar sleeves sealed. It's called an envelope with a capital L, meaning it's sealed on these 2 sides, so you can lift it to there. So they just slide these in and back. So I've now got an envelope. I mean, I can still slide a document in and out of that fairly easily. Oftentimes, if we're putting things into a sleeve like this, if it's fragile or you don't want it to be flexed, you would build the size of this around a stiffening board slightly bigger than the document. So the document would be the smallest, stiffening board slightly bigger, and then the envelope slightly bigger again. So I've now sealed 3 sides, which means I can still slide things in and out. But if you wanted to use this in the reading room and have it secure so nobody could get it out, you would simply just seal all 4 sides. So that's a sort of mechanical encapsulation. These are really good tools. There are different models on the market. Marianne downstairs has a slightly bigger one, and there are also machines that will cross-weld, like an ultrasonic head that goes back and forwards, so you could make individual pockets for photographic negatives and the like. These guys are about $2,500–3,000. The cross welders, the ultrasonic ones, are about 50 to 60, and currently out of production due to obsolescence of a certain part. So that's encapsulation.